Union Test Preps Practice Test for the ServSafe Food Handler Exam, Part 4. There will be a brief pause after answer choices are given. This is a great time to pause the video to solve. Question 1. Food can become contaminated when coming into contact with contaminated what? A. People. B. Surfaces. C. Materials. D. All of these. Food can become contaminated by contaminated food handlers, prep surfaces, tools, and other materials, so the correct answer is D, all of these. These are known as environmental hazards, and a safe food handler understands how their own actions can result in foodborne illness. Question 2. Which of the following are the three categories of environmental hazards? A. Biological, chemical, and physical. B. Biological, chemical, and hazardous. C. Biodegradable, chemical, and physical. D. Biological, infectious, and physical. Environmental hazards are broken into three categories: biological, chemical, and physical. Proper identification of these environmental hazards and how they occur helps prevent contamination and the spread of foodborne illness. Question 3. Which of the following is not true of proper glove use? A. One should never blow into gloves when putting them on. B. One should only wash, rinse, and sanitize gloves once before replacing them. C. One should only use gloves that fit your hands. D. One should always wash hands before using gloves. Gloves should never be reused, even if they have been washed, rinsed, and sanitized, so B is the correct answer. Gloves should never be a replacement for hand washing, and gloves in your size should be applied properly after you've washed your hands. Blowing into gloves can spread pathogens, and is not recommended practice. Question 4. Nail polish that has flaked into food creates what type of contamination? A. Biological. B. Chemical. C. Physical. D. Contractual. Nail polish should never be worn by food handlers because it could flake into food and cause C. Physical contamination. Nail polish may also hide dirt that is present under the nails. A food handler's nails should be short, filed, and clean to keep pathogens at bay. Question 5. Thermometers used to take the temperature of food should be what to ensure an accurate reading? A. Sanitized. B. Calibrated. C. Received. D. Regulated. A thermometer should be B. Calibrated before use to ensure an accurate reading. Once calibrated, it should be washed, rinsed, sanitized with an alcohol prep wipe, and air-dried before use. A properly calibrated thermometer helps protect against temperature abuse and pathogens. Question 6. Which of the following is not one of the correct ways to thaw food? A. In the cooler at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. B. Submerged under 70 degrees Fahrenheit running water. C. As part of the cooking process. D. In the microwave if the food is to be cooked immediately. When thawing food in the cooler, the temperature must be 41 degrees Fahrenheit, so A. In the cooler at 45 degrees Fahrenheit is not a correct way to thaw food. Thawing can introduce time and temperature abuse, so the food's temperature must be controlled. Food should never be thawed at room temperature. Question 7. Which of the following must reach an internal cooking temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds to reduce pathogens? A. Cooked grains. B. Pork. C. Beef. D. Poultry. D. Poultry, including whole or ground chicken, turkey, or duck, must be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Proper internal temperatures and their correct times help reduce the spread of any commonly associated pathogens that may be present in the food. Question 8. Which of the following is not considered an at-risk person? A. An elderly person. B. A person with a compromised immune system. C. An allergic person. D. A preschool child. Groups of people who are at a higher risk of foodborne illness include the elderly, the very young, or people with compromised immune systems, but do not include C. An allergic person. There are additional guidelines for preparing food for at-risk groups, and you should check with your manager for your policy information. Question 9. Storing certain items on specific shelves in the cooler helps prevent what? A. Cross-contact. B. Cross-contamination. C. Cross-interference. D. Cross-control. Storing certain items on specific shelves in the cooler helps to prevent B. Cross-contamination. Good practices include storing ready-to-eat items on the top shelf, or storing poultry on the bottom shelf. Question 10. In a three-compartment sink, the first sink is used to what? A. Pre-wash. B. Wash. C. Rinse. D. Sanitize. In a properly set up three-compartment sink, the first sink basin is used to be wash. Always scrape, soak, or rinse items before placing them in sink 1. In the wash sink, scrub the items clean and change the water once it becomes dirty or the suds dissipate. The second sink should be used to rinse, and the third sink should be used to sanitize. Looking for more study help? Get additional practice tests, study guides, and flashcards for the ServSafe exams at uniontestprep.com/ServSafe.